Introducing our new podcast venture, Get Off the Damn Fence. Get off the damn fence. Now you're talking out both sides of your mouth. Get off the damn fence. Pick a side. Which one is it? Get off the damn fence. Oh, now you change your mind. Oh, that's what it is. Get off the damn fence. Oh, stand on it. 10 toes. Stand down. Go ahead. Get off the damn fence. Get off the goddamn fence. Mm-hmm. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our new podcast. That's right. It is called Get Off the Damn Fence. I'm Larry Caution, joined tonight as I am going to be every week by Justin Harris and Calvin Thomas. What's going on, gentlemen?
What's happening?
This is it.
The cat salute.
The premiere of Get Off the Damn Fence is going to be pretty fun. We're going to be talking about the NBA playoffs tonight. The finals have wrapped up, so without further ado, let's get right into our first topic of the night. And I'm going to let Justin, you lead it off because I know, a lot of people know I picked, Boston winning 5. So I'm not here to gloat, you know what I mean? But I did have a pretty good prediction. I had 5.
We're going to start on this.
I had 5, you know what I mean? Some of y'all had 7, some had 6. I believe I had 5. I said that Dallas would win game 4 out of desperation, get the job done, but then it would be over when they got back to Boston. That's exactly what happened. Who doesn't want to win in front of your home crowd back in Boston? The crowd was going crazy. Congratulations to the Boston Celtics for winning their 18th. That's right, Calvin, not the Lakers 17th, with the fake 17th one, by the way. 18th NBA championship. So congratulations to them. I'll let you start, Calvin, since you are a Lakers fan. What does it mean with the Celtics to have an 18 title? I'm going to give it to you, Justin. But what does it mean, Calvin, for the Celtics to now have 18?
Justin, go ahead, because you was ready.
I was just confused because he handed me off so I can start the show, and then he went on and started the show.
Go ahead, man.
I was going to actually throw it right back to you and say you was the right one when you called it 5, but you clearly done that yourself. No need to even spill on that one. So with that being said, we are talking about Boston winning the NBA Finals, NBA Championship for the record-setting 18th time, breaking the tie with the Los Angeles Lakers. We are talking about Boston that beat the Dallas Mavericks. We are going to talk about the fact that JB won the Finals MVP, so on and so forth. With that being said, let's just talk about Boston winning. What does this mean? How does this feel? How did you feel? How did I feel? Well, when I was watching this whole series, it was clear to me that Boston was definitely the better team 1 through 5. And I was constantly waiting for certain individuals to step up, and we'll talk about that later. But this is going to be about Boston, pro Boston. So we're going to show some love to KP coming out of nowhere, giving his Willis Reed effort in order for the Boston Celtics to do their thing and win their championship. JT clearly is the man right now. He's feeling very light-skinned right now, very happy with himself. So as a result of that, so like I say, it's just good feels, good vibes. Shout out to Al Horford winning his title after being in the league for 25 years. So it's just all well and good for the Boston Beantown faithful that is.
Yeah, Calvin, what's your thoughts on like I said, Boston winning at 18?
Well, first of all, let's define this 18. Since the NBA merged in 1976, a lot of those titles were pre-76. We ain't even gonna count those. So in my respective opinion,
what you're not gonna do is disrespect Bill Russell. That's what you're not gonna do. Those titles count. Bill Russell counts. What he went through in Boston, that does count. I'm gonna let you go, but you're not gonna disrespect Bill Russell. Continue.
It's no disrespect to Bill Russell. I'm just saying the Lakers do ultimately have more titles than the Celtics post NBA ABA merger. We ain't gonna get too deep in that. Shout out to the Boston Celtics right now, NBA champions. I do think they were the best team in the East. I think they got a favorable matchup in the finals overall. They were able to win the title in dominant fashion, I believe. We can say what we want about game 4, but to win win 4 games in that dominant fashion with different people stepping up, Porzingis, Drew Holiday, Derek
Mhm.
White, Jalen Brown,
Mhm.
Jason Tatum. All those guys had key moments in those four victories. They are the champions, and nothing can be taken away from them. Like Jason Tatum said, it was a little cringe some stuff he was saying, but what can you say next? He's the NBA Finals winner. What can you say next?
Yeah, I mean, give shout out to Jalen Brown for being named the Finals MVP. I think he had averaged 20 points for the series, but I think it was one of those series where nobody really stuck their head that far out, as far as on the scoring output on a consistent basis. So you looked at both ends of the court, offensively and defensively. He did have Kyrie a lot of times during the series. Luka got his points, but he had to work for him. So I think it was like, if you're going to have to pick one, Jason Tatum had an excellent game 5, great closeout game. But if you had to pick one guy, do you think that Jalen Brown was the correct choice? Justin, what's your thoughts on that?
Absolutely not.
Mm.
But I have you asking me personally.
Sure, sure.
But in
Get off
the
the fence, damn it. Say what you say.
so with that being said, shout out to the plug. Um, in the NBA, they tend to give the Finals MVP to the person, if it's close, like Larry was alluding to the person that plays the primary defender. We've
Mhm.
seen it with Andre Iguodala. We've seen it with Kawhi Leonard. Basically, when you play the best person on the opposite team and still manage to put up some decent points for yourself, you probably will get Finals MVP if that main superstar isn't being a true superstar for your team. But with all that being said, Jason Tatum had more points, more rebounds, more assists, and normally when you do that, you do win Finals MVP. The defense of the Dallas Mavericks was predicated amongst stopping Jason Tatum, not Jalen Brown. The person that had to switch up how he played defensively, he was guarding the big. He don't necessarily guard the big the entire game like he was doing. Why? Because when Luka asks and calls for the switch, the pick and roll switch to get Jalen off of him, is usually a big coming out there. That's why he destroyed it in the Minnesota series. No, it was now Jason Tatum on that receiving end with the switch to help the team better defensively. So with all that being said, and Jason Tatum not blowing the whole entire series by pressing too much, he was very, very patient. He was basically he was given what the defense was giving him. That's how he was playing this game.
Mhm.
So with that being said, I believe with Jason Tatum hands down.
Calvin.
Yeah, I agree with Jason Tatum. I think, like you said, the game plan was geared to slow down Jason Tatum and let Jalen Brown do his thing. Now, through the first two games, I would have said it was Kristaps Porzingis. The way he came out firing game 1 and game 2 before pre-injury, I would have gave it to KP. But we saw what happened after that. He barely played after that game 2 injury. But like you said, Jason Tatum was the catalyst, leading his team in rebounds, points, assists. What, the fourth guy in the last 20 years to do that on a title-winning team? You have to give him his props. While Jalen Brown did step up, because like you said, the defense was predicated to stop Jason Tatum. He did his thing, but ultimately, Jason Tatum is the best player on his team. He's the leader of this team, and I think he deserves to have his NBA Finals MVP. Now, granted, he's probably happy with the win with the ring itself, but it's still a stain on your legacy, like we talked about when Andre Iguodala got one instead of Steph. How many years did we talk about Steph not getting one? So this is also going to be something that's on Jason Tatum's resume that he has to get at some point. If I had a vote, I would have voted for Tatum, just seeing everything that he did, especially post Kristaps Porzingis and how he had to step up, rebounding, playing center at times to give Al Horford a break. He did a lot of different things that don't show up on a box score, but still contributed to their winning the 18 title.
I mean, I understand what y'all saying, but I don't know. I think it could have been anybody. And I thought Tatum, really his best game was game 5. He didn't perform well consistently, but I get what you're saying. If you're just looking at the box score, I can see it. So let's talk about Al Horford. Al Horford, this is it for him. I think he's hanging it up. Finally got his ring on the way out.
Did he officially announce that?
I think that's what the word is. I don't think he's officially come out of his mouth and said I'm done or nothing like that. But I think that's a way to walk off, man. If this is it for Al, what's his legacy in the league? Calvin, what's your thoughts?
I mean, he's got to be a winner. Wherever he went outside that little Oklahoma Philly stint, he was a winner. In Atlanta, he was a winner. Boston, late in his career, he was a winner. In Florida, in college, he was a winner. That's got to be his legacy as a leader and a winner on the biggest stage, on the biggest games. Like I said, in Florida, and Boston. In my opinion, he's definitely a Hall of Famer when you look at his collective basketball resume, taking college and the professionals into play. He's going to be remembered as the leader and as a winner. He's going to be remembered as someone that was able to quiet all the talk of you got to trade Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown. You got to trade one of them. They can't play together. He was the guy that came back to Boston after leaving the free agency to help them get a ring, to lead them to 2 finals appearances. That's going to be Al Horford's legacy, and I think he'll be it. The question kind of needs to get dangled. Does he deserve to have his number retired in Boston as well? But he's definitely Hall of Fame in my opinion. He's a leader. He's a winner. If this was his last game, it's a hell of a way to go out.
Justin, I'll clean up. Go ahead.
He's definitely a Hall of Famer. That's what you're standing on.
I was like,
definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. I don't think it's no doubt.
Okay.
But I mean, what, 4 or 5 time All-Star? That might get you there 4 or 5 times. I guess winning in college. That helps.
It's the basketball.
It's a basketball. I'm saying that helps. That helps.
Mm-hmm.
But he wasn't even the main player on that Florida team though. But okay,
we can argue about that. You want to say it was Noah?
He definitely was a bigger factor.
Noah was the leader of that team.
Definitely, if you consider the heart and soul of the team.
Mm-hmm.
But okay. So Atlanta, right? He was
people's already in there.
He was the leader in Atlanta, right? No, that was Joe Johnson.
Including
no, he didn't play with T-Mac. Well, he was the leader in Boston. He never was the leader in Boston either. I'm just trying to think when did he be? When was he the guy? To say he's a Hall of Famer. When was he ever like the top 2 guys?
You have to be the guy to be in the Hall of Fame.
Okay. You're right. Not the top guy. You're right. That's upper echelon. You're right. Calvin.
Hold up. I've heard you disgrace some people that was to me way better than Al Horford.
No, that's fine. Let him have his moment. Okay, so he was
T-Mac is the Hall of Fame.
He wasn't. Stop bringing up T-Mac. Got nothing to do with T-Mac. What you're saying is he wasn't the top guy. I got you. You're right. When was he number 2?
No, I'm agreeing with you. I'm saying
I'm going to count. When he wasn't number 1 or number 2. He was a 3rd tier guy. Is going to the Hall of Fame now. That's what we're saying.
Yes. Got solid 3.
Yes.
What? He was barely number 3 of Boston.
He was never number 3 in Boston.
What are we talking about?
Wait.
He was barely number 3 in Atlanta. It was Jeff Teague.
It was Jeff Teague in
he
Atlanta.
was probably the 3rd best player, and then Cal Culver. Like, we're not going to forget that whole 4-man, 5-man Atlanta squad. That all of them happen to be nice.
You want to disrespect Al Horford?
I'm not disrespecting him. You're placing him on a level to get disrespected.
I'm putting him on a level with Hall of Fame because when you can take his collective basketball resume, what you do for the Naismith Hall of Fame, it's not an NBA Hall of Fame, it's a Naismith Hall of Fame.
Right.
He's one of a handful of players to go back to back and win titles in college.
You're right. But he was never the guy, though, right?
What's his numbers like in the NBA?
His career high is 34 points. So what I'm saying is what you're saying is if he's corrected college, pros, Hall of Fame, that's what you're saying. Then Rob, not necessarily college, but NBA. This guy won 7 championships. Is Robert Horry in the Hall of Fame? So it's not. It does take a little bit more than just being
Bruce Bowen.
Just acclaimed, right? It takes a little bit more, right?
What I'm saying is you got to have these inflated numbers and not win it all like a T-Mac, and then you're a Hall of Famer.
Name Robert Horry and Bruce Bowen.
But you inflate your numbers enough to where I can be compared to someone because I scored enough, but my scoring didn't impact winning.
Did he even score enough? Did Al Horford score enough? Did Al Horford enough rebound? He was always just that third
utility guy
on the team. He's a great team guy.
A good switchblade. Yeah.
That's all he is. Why is he a Hall of Famer? Because he won in college?
His
Hall of pretty good. A Hall of pretty good.
In Hall of Fame.
He wasn't the main guy in college.
We talk about main guys. Everyone's not a main guy. They're main guys that only go to the Hall of Fame.
Congratulations to the Boston Celtics. But Al Horford ain't no damn Hall of Fame. I'm sorry, man. That is ridiculous. That is ridiculous. What are you talking about? We're gonna have to table this for another week. But I want you to bring me some stats or something to back it up. Just because he was a good, solid contributor to Atlanta ain't win nothing. When they ever win something? This is his first title.
Made 2 conference finals. Okay. This puts a stamp on his career. This adds to his hall. This puts him over the top and puts him in the Hall of Fame with this ring, with his importance to this team, especially down the stretch in big games. That's all I'm saying. 2 finals appearances, 1 finals win, 2 titles in college at Florida. You take that collective basketball resume, that equals Hall of Fame.
Is Bruce Bowen a Hall of Famer?
No.
Bruce got 3. What you talking about? Bruce was a solid contributor and a
Kobe
Kobe stopper. Huh?
Bruce Bowen will never know Kobe stopper. Huh?
Big time corner 3-point shooter.
That's
like
disrespectful.
You're a team guy. What do you mean?
Bruce Bowen, best thing about his defense is sticking out his foot when you're taking a jump shot. That's all.
Hey,
that's what he's best known for.
I'm just saying, man. I mean, congratulations to Al Horford. We ain't trying to rain on your parade, but Calvin set you up for that. I'm sorry, man. It was kind of rough. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about the loser of the finals this year. And last week we had a discussion, and I thought that Justin really laid his case out. He didn't stand on no fence. He got off that fence. He took a side. He said, "I expect to see more from Luka Doncic in the finals. If you are that guy, and your season average, what he averaged 30-something points,
33.9.
You expect that to go up. If you need to lead your team, put them on your back." Now, I made the case. I thought Luka played great. You know what I mean? For his effort, I thought he put up a solid effort. I thought he didn't get enough help. And I think Game 4 was just one of them games where Boston didn't give their greatest display. But Game 5, were you satisfied with what you saw from Luka, and how would you rate his entire his finals appearance? Now we know great players throughout history have gone to the finals and either got swept, lost in 5, put up a respectable performance. But how will history look at what Luka did in his first finals run? And let's just piggyback off your discussion from last week. Justin, get it off your chest. What's up?
What you see is a person that I expected to at least drop 40 one time. I was telling everyone else, like, you need to at least come in here with the mindset that you have to score 40 to 50, like, in order to win. What they didn't keep in mind was the fact that, we'll say that for the Kyrie segment, because that's coming next. But with that being said, if the defense that they were doing, yes, Jaylen Brown was picking them up 94th week. We get that. A lot of those shots that he had that he missed was one-on-one shots. Like, the reason Boston's main thing was, I'm going to try to stay home on the shooters and the perimeter players as long as possible before I overcommit to Luka Doncic. So with that being said, you got to give me at least 30 plus, bro. You have to at least give me your average and then more upon that. They weren't blitzing him like Minnesota was doing the last series. They wasn't doing it as much. Definitely not as much. And he still kind of picked apart that defense. So I seen it. I seen it happen before. I seen you play better. This is the same person that scored 73 points in a regular season game. I'm not going to gloss over that he did it this year. I'm not going to act like you were just a standing Caucasian cone amongst the people driving right by you. That happened over and over. And we know, I'm not even going to go into that. Yes, his defense needs to be worked on. But what you've seen as a repeated thing is his conditioning was the problem. Game 1, when you scored 3 points. Game in the fourth quarter. Game 2, when you scored 3 points in the fourth quarter. Game 3, when you let yourself get fouled out. So you didn't show up. So if you was averaging 10, 15, the points was climbing in the first 3 quarters with no problem. Then you get to the fourth quarter and they drop. So why is that? Oh, because you was getting worked on the other end. No. Oh, understood. Oh, so if we had enough fortitude to condemn Anthony Edwards for needing oxygen in the back or whatever the case may be, then he deserves at least a bigger portion than what he's getting. I understand that it was all on him. I get it. But I seen other players put up points to the point that they couldn't score no more. I seen AI do that. I seen other players do that before. So if the defense was staying home as long as they could, then Luka, you have to give me 40 points. It's not like you haven't done it before. I've seen it. That's all I'm saying. That's all. Do more.
Calvin,
Do you feel, because it's weird, I feel like his conditioning was better during the season and it kind of waned. Do you think injuries played a part? Let me ask you that question. You didn't mention anything about injuries.
I'm not going to bring that up because this is the finals. People's hurt.
Correct.
We're not going to bring that up. If you step on the floor, you're playing. But like I said, I made a point to bring up Anthony Edwards. The reason why I gave Anthony Edwards some leeway is because you didn't. This is the first time you ever got this far, right? So you have to go from a college mindset to bring it all the way forward. You've never been this far.
Never been to the finals.
So now this is Luka's turn, and this is his time, and he's going all the way into the finals, and now he has to. I expect someone that's been playing professional basketball since the age of 14 to know how to condition yourself a little bit better, even within the series itself. So yes, maybe it's game 1 and 2. I got to do something different, and then you do that in game 3. Because if I'm not mistaken, y'all saw game 4. He turned it up defensively. Everybody, all he heard was people talking about him and all this other stuff. We seen the rolls, the clips of him just getting drove past repeatedly. He picked up his defensive intensity in game 4, and then all of a sudden they blow him out. I'm not saying he dropped in game 5, but he didn't. It wasn't as bad as game 3, games 1 through 3. It dropped a little bit, but I've seen it. So if you can make a difference, then you make that difference. I really hold game 3. That was my star game. The fact that Kyrie showed up, the fact that Kyrie gave you 30 plus, 35, if I'm not mistaken, you foul out. And you left that. You only
when the game was in reach.
Yeah.
You only scored 2 points in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
You win game 3. Clearly, you win game 4. It's a whole different series.
Yeah, I agree with you with your take on Luka. You just need to see more, but like you said, this is his first time getting to this level, and you have to put into perspective where we see these great playoff performances from superstars that get to this point for the first time and then they excel. We saw it with Giannis, we saw it with Kawhi kind of leading that team in Toronto. We just had to put in perspective as to what our expectations are for certain individuals. And Luka's come into NBA season out of shape, which felt like his entire career, and we expected that to get better. Luka seemingly seemed to have complained about the referees increasingly more throughout his career. I don't remember this, 3-4 years ago, but now I feel like I see it every time I watch a Dallas Mavericks game in which he's increasingly asking for calls, thinking he got fouled, so on and so forth. So is this just the player that Luka is? Or are we expecting too much from him? Like Justin said, he's been playing professional basketball for 10, 12 years at this point? Now, granted, it's not an 82-game season of the NBA, but it's still that grind. It's still playing against people bigger, more physical than you. So this is this what Luka is? That's why I'm at this point. Can he push further and go further in his career? Like you expected just to see another level at this point because it's the finals, and we never saw that for whatever reason. You just expected to see more. Even last night, he kind of tried to go down shooting, but the shots were lazy. He wasn't getting the same lift on his shot. It was just kind of like, I'm going through the motions. I know this is over, but I got to put up a good effort. I just want to know what happens next season with Luka, because at this point, I expected more from him. I didn't expect him to win, but I expected more from him. Like just said, I expected to see a 50-point game. I expected to see him just shoot lights out one game. I expected to see him put this team on his back and win one game, and it didn't happen. But now I'm questioning myself, did I expect too much from Luka, or is this just the beginning and he's going to use his motivation? That's what we got to see.
You go, and then I'm going to come back from Calvin.
Well, I think a lot of it is, you expected more from him because he's shown he can do that in the regular season. And when you see somebody do it, you expect them to show up when the lights is the brightest. I think they ran up against a juggernaut. That's just how I believe. I thought Boston was always the better team. I thought they always had more firepower. I thought that defensively they were always going to give him better looks than what you saw in the Western Conference. And what Boston was able to do was sometimes they go ahead, shoot, go on, shoot, do whatever you want to do. We're not giving you those easy lobs. We're not giving you those easy passing lanes. And Luka is at his best when he's able to not just score the basket, but also assist the basketball. And you don't know exactly what he's going to do. And when those shots are not falling from those people he's throwing it to, like you say, they had one good game. And game 3, I agree. Game 3 was within reach, and then he fouled out. But a lot of that was aggression. They were making him work. They were making him work on the defensive end, and they took advantage of him. And that's something that we still need to see is his because of his conditioning, because of the things that we talked about with his conditioning in the past. Defensively, that's where you're going to see the lapses, not necessarily offensively, and that's going to impact if you can't keep your legs defensively, and now they try to expect the same offensive output from you as well. It's hard to keep up at this part of the season as well. We're in June. We're not in January. We're not in February. So it's a lot of attrition on them legs. Go ahead, Justin.
So I'm gonna say two things. One, this is the level that I expected from Luka. To be honest with you, you remember a couple years ago when Giannis played against Phoenix, and everyone was telling Phoenix to do what? Build the wall, do the wall. He has not cracked that code yet, right? Phoenix, unfortunately, did not do that. They stuck with their guns, and Giannis kept applying the pressure, and he said, if you're not going to do that, I'm not going to let up. That's kind of the same that I know they're different players, but that's the same level of tenacity I wanted to see from Luka. If you're not going to double and triple team me like you should, like every other team has done so far, so I can get my other shooters, my other players involved, the lobs, so I can do those things, then I'm not going to let up, and I'm going to keep scoring. That's what I expected for someone that can score at his level. But I get it. It didn't happen. Calvin, to your point, what do you expect next year? Luka doesn't have to work on anything offensively other than conditioning, which we already know, and playing off ball. Those are the only two things he needs to do. You let Kyrie
and he take the ball out of his hands.
Talked about this, and I kind of avoided it the first time we talked about it because I knew it was there. I just didn't want to fully admit it. But the fact is, we were talking about the tandem things, and y'all said I was trying to make a case for Luka and Kai, and y'all was making a case for Tatum and Brown. You guys were right. They play better together. The problem is neither one of them knows how to really and truly play. This is Kai and Luka play off ball. So this helps you gain your energy and things like that throughout the course of the game. If you can kind of jog around and then quickly sprint around 2 to 3 picks that was made for you, I have an open shot. I didn't have to dribble, waste energy to pull up and make things happen. People made things happen, and then I am now the recipient of a lot of movements within the team. So I think that's what Luka needs to do. He has the offensive gift to touch the ball and it just goes in. He has that gift. So what you going to do? Tell him work on his threes? Yeah, he could, but he already know how to do it. Like, it's not like it's crazy for him. It's just he needs the legs underneath him. That's conditioning. And maybe to preserve energy a little bit longer, let Kai handle some of the ball when it comes to ball handling, and then you play off ball. You actually run around the picks and things like that. He just needs to do cardio. That's it. Way more. This is the best shape he's been in so far. If this was a couple years ago, Luka would not. He wouldn't have made it. So this is the best that he's been conditionally. It's just he needs to do it 2 more levels up.
I think playing off ball is easier said than done when you're used to handling the offense, having the ball in your hands so much, having the offense run through you, being the focal point on offense. I think that's easier said than done. It's something that can be done with practice. But we know NBA teams don't practice at a certain point in the season. So I think it's easier said than done, but I think they can do it. Will they be comfortable enough to do it when it matters in the playoffs? Will Luka be okay with Kyrie running the show for points of time during the game while he's on the court as well? That's what I'm not sure of.
Well, let's get into Kyrie because it's been an interesting ride. You know, they made it to the finals. Let's call it what it is. It's not like they were one and done or anything like that. This is second year in Dallas. Overall, I would think you have to consider the trade a success so far. But we're going to talk about, you know, some teams that they've had in the past. Justin, you alluded to that earlier. They had Porzingis. They had, you know, Jalen Brunson all on the same team with Luka. But overall, I still think Kyrie has added a lot to the team. And I think some of the strategic moves that you all have discussed actually play well into this discussion. Should Kyrie be running the point? Yes. But like you said, Calvin, when Luca is such a ball dominant player who is so used to controlling the tempo and moving at his pace, and can Luca play the three? Can he play the two? Sure. I mean, I think he could, but does he want to? And when you get to a certain level as a superstar, you're trying to dictate what you want to do. And that's a lot of part. I think some people don't really understand. I heard that Luca's kind of a diva. Have you heard those kind of things about him down there in Dallas, Justin?
Um, KP wasn't feeling him. I'll say that. KP was brought on to be maybe 1A, 1B, and then he realized he's becoming 2.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think he was 100% for that. But, I do think that Luka is a more of a team player than than the rep he's getting. I'll also say that. I haven't heard, I listened to Jalen Brunson heavy, and he has nothing but glowing things to say about Luka. And you could tell if someone's being genuine or not. First and foremost, JB is a he's so far a truthful guy. He calls it how you see it. He's a straight shooter. So he didn't say, well, Luka was, he was a good teammate to be with. No, it's glowing reviews about Luka. So I think KP had an issue with them because he expected more to be that guy, and unfortunately, he probably wasn't. And you get the other side of JB is just giving him nothing but love on the opposite end. So I don't agree with that. I think he's a
so do you think if Kyrie wanted to move to the point, that would be something they would be fine doing?
So it's let's just say it like this. Kobe had to get off ball, right? He's a 2. He played off ball, but he still had the ball and brought it up a lot of times. Sometimes he let other people like Derek Fisher, facilitate the offense. Mike Jordan, that is, was clearly the ball handler early on, and then Phil got him to get off ball to want to get other players involved and not let everything, the usage rate, go all through you. There's only been one player, and correct me if I'm wrong, that kind of did it to an exceptional level to win championships, and that's LeBron James.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else kind of did their thing. So if you take LeBron out, what Luka's doing is pretty amazing, but that usage rate is very high. So yes, it's kind of within himself, and plus he does not a conditioned athlete like a LeBron James. Why do you think James Harden? It could be mental, yes. Well, James Harden flames out in the playoffs. Could it be that he done maxed himself out and he just can't he's gassed out?
Usage rate.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that is something to it, and maybe Luka sees that. And he's no dummy. He realizes he definitely realized he ran out of gas during the finals. So maybe that is something that he chooses to do.
Going back to that Luka Kyrie KP dynamic, I think Luka respected Kyrie more for what he did when he came on to Dallas versus what Kristaps did. And even though you can say they were just as talented, Kyrie put in more work, and Luka respected what he did in Cleveland, what he did in Boston, what he did in Brooklyn prior to coming to Dallas. And I think he kind of that made their dynamic, made their relationship easier to work together. Unlike when KP came on and was coming off an ACL injury, it was coming off one good year out of your first 3 or 4 years in New York, but you want to be treated as 1A. Like, it doesn't go together. You still got to put in the work, in my opinion, and I think that's where they clash. Now, looking at Jalen Brunson wasn't Jalen Brunson right now when he was in Dallas, and that's through no fault of Luka. That's just the fact that he
that was
didn't have
coaching.
The opportunity.
That was coaching.
Yeah, he didn't have the opportunity to showcase what he can do, and now he has the opportunity. He has the ball in his hands more in New York. You can see what he can do. Now, I'm not sure if that would work. You can say would that be comparable to Kyrie? I'm not exactly sure, because Kyrie is at a different point in his career than Jalen Brunson was. Jalen Brunson was trying to establish himself, or he did establish himself when he went to New York. Kyrie's been at that point where he's established himself. He's a winner. He's known for taking and making big shots. So it's kind of difficult to say when one person is already established, or if one person wants to establish themselves and kind of create their legacy, could they mesh the same? But so I don't know if that dynamic would actually work with Jalen Brunson in Dallas. Would he be the same player he was in New York? Now, with Kyrie being more on board, more on ball next year with Luka, it's possible, but I think you also have to allow Kyrie the freedom to play more minutes without Luka during the regular season, to have him get acclimated with those guys. So if something happens, if worst case scenario, if Luka's not there, or if Luka is in foul trouble, then we can rely on this offense because we've seen the minutes in the regular season. We know what to do. I think that's also something we need to see. Now, granted, you don't expect them to play too many minutes, when they're not on the court at the same time during the playoffs, but just being prepared for all scenarios, that'll be key as well.
I think they could use a big man down bottom, like somebody who can actually.
I think Lively's good. I think Lively.
You think he create his own shot? He can do everything he need to do.
I think he can. He's still young. He's a rookie. He's still young. I think, as he grows in this league, I really think he could take a leap this year, next year, being more offensively talented. You saw him kind of step out, hit those corner threes. If you can do that consistently and force you to stretch out, that creates more space on the court for Luka and Kyrie. So I think he just has to continue to grow, and I think that's something that you anticipate him doing because you kind of saw little glimpses of that and just saying, okay, he could do that. Okay, now we got to respect that. It's just a matter of him taking that step and being able to do it more consistently.
I also think they didn't take advantage of PJ Washington as much as they should. So now we're focused to Jason Kidd, right? And it's a lot of times
in this series specifically.
In this series, yes, in this series, they relied for him to be a spot up shooter in a sense, right? But then you see him trying to kind of go against that a little bit. Like, I need to drive. I need to try to get some points inside. I can finish inside. I can post up a little bit. I can bring the ball up. That was another thing they was trying to do to relieve Luka of Jaylen Brown 94 feet defense, is the fact that they was letting PJ Washington bring the ball up the court to give some relief for Luka. So it was. I know it's a lot of things that PJ Washington did. I noticed some things that Josh Green was doing. I don't think that the boy Hardy that came off the bench, the young boy, I don't think he got enough minutes because he wasn't afraid of the moment. You know what I'm saying? So I think Jason Kidd probably could have did a little bit more with the skills that he had.
Stay with a pat hand.
But I mean, it's clearly Kyrie, and we need to talk about Kyrie. Are you ready to have a conversation?
Go ahead.
Okay, so people are talking about Kyrie didn't perform. Kyrie didn't show up, and he didn't score as much as he did during the regular season. And my thing is, I seen this coming. That's why I was so pro Luka. I knew Luka had to do more versus Kyrie doing more. I knew one was easier for one versus the other. You're like, why is that? Well, you seen the record against Boston, right? It was like 0-11 coming to the series. Now it was like 0-15 or something, like whatever the case may be.
In Boston, yeah.
You knew that he had issues. But I think this goes more than that. Remember that this is the same team that he was on. We know this. If you remember the last time he played Boston, what happened?
He got swept.
Right? And he had a Kevin Durant on his team. So I'm like, clearly, maybe these two guys, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, they know how to play Kyrie. Maybe, right? This series for me proved it. When Drew Holiday wasn't playing Kyrie in the entire series, it was a lot of switching, a lot of things like that. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, they never gave an inch. They kept the pressure on Kyrie because they knew how to play Kyrie. Why? Because they was on his team. They know it. He was probably busting ass in practice, and eventually you kind of pick up on certain things. So when they was able to sweep him a couple years ago, people might, what did we switched the attention right over to Kevin Durant. Oh, Kevin Durant didn't lose. Kevin Durant. Kyrie averaged like 22 points, 21 points that series. What did Kyrie average this series? About 22 points. It was about the same. It was about the same. So they clearly have a makeup on Kyrie, addition to the fact that Kyrie's playing in Boston, addition to the fact that Kyrie might be a little bit emotional and he doesn't. It probably wears on him a little bit to hear the boos, the constant rain and all this other stuff, the boos that he gets. So it is a microcosm of different things that's happening that Kyrie's just not the same guy against Boston. So if you know that he's not going to be the same guy, and he was showing the game one and game two, clearly it was something else. Then Luka, the main guy, not the number two guy, the number one guy, the one is the third in MVP. That's why I wanted him to do more because I knew Kyrie might not be the same guy as you would expect him to.
But see, to me, that's not fair. I mean, basketball not fair. But what I'm saying is, if I bring you because I'm a 30 point, I'm gonna get you 30 points. All right. I need you if you a top guy. Kyrie not no slouch. We're not talking about we just went out and got any old body. It's supposed to be one and 1A. You know what I mean? Not no 1 and A and C. Like, I need 25. You know what I mean? I need 27. Like, Kyrie can get
Brooklyn
you.
was expecting the same thing and they didn't get it.
I mean, injuries contribute to a lot of why
He wasn't hurt.
He had nagging injuries. In
Yeah, he wasn't hurt against Brooklyn. When he was with Brooklyn, him and KD
You
was
talking about against Boston. You're just going back to that one series. I'm talking about overall.
It's the last series against the same main guys, and we were saying maybe Ime Udoka got maybe.
I think defense they just good defensive players. Agreed, but his jumpers weren't falling. Like he wasn't taking a lot of shots. He wasn't really being aggressive. Go look at his percentage, his field goal percentages.
He shot the same against Brooklyn. He was almost, if you look, it's almost a carbon copy between the two series.
But don't you expect more? Or you just gonna settle and say it's the NBA Finals? Hey, Kyrie, we're not expecting nothing from you. Luka's all on you, dog. No, you gotta come out there and do something about it. Like, if something's not working, was his assist total up? Was it like what did he add to contribute to the team? That's what I'm saying. If we talking about what is Dallas going to do to get back to this point and get over the hump next year, are we just going to as long as Boston's there, they ain't got no chance? No, you expect more and fold it up, fold your tent. Like, no, I'm sorry, I just don't see bailing Kyrie out by just saying, well, he just doesn't play well against Boston.
Well, he doesn't.
Figure it out. Like you get paid a lot of money.
Maybe he can.
At this point, it's a pattern. We've seen this for 2 or 3 postseasons. So it maybe it is for whatever reason.
That's pathetic. All right, let's get on. Let's move on to this next topic. Who I've kind of been thinking about this because this NBA Finals, I foresaw this. Like, before we went into let's go all the way back to the beginning of the postseason. We made our predictions. I believe you all both had Denver making it to the finals. And I think Denver versus Boston, better series than this. You know what I mean? I think
let's not.
No. Can I talk about y'all first? And then I'm gonna get to me. I think that would have been a better series. I think Phoenix versus Boston would have been a better series. I think Devin Booker and KD, if Bradley Beal if healthy at this point, I do think that trio would have been a better offensive threat than what we just saw from Luka and Kyrie, because he's relevant. He was never going to be a threat against Boston. So at least I know KD and Devin Booker not going to stop shooting. You know what I mean? Devin Booker not going to stop shooting. I just think this was a letdown for the finals of the NBA Finals. So I've been thinking back over all the finals of the past several years, and I had to go all the way back to probably like the New Jersey Nets, maybe like a team that really just disappointed me in this way. Maybe Miami Heat. Miami Heat wasn't that good.
Go back to last year.
Last year wasn't that bad. Yeah, it was terrible. I like erase last year out of my mind sometimes. Jimmy Butler had no business being in the finals. Yeah. Go ahead.
I agree. I mean, there were better matchups for Boston other than Dallas. You just went through a couple. You can add Minnesota, Denver, Oklahoma City. I think there were better matchups that would have produced a better basketball product. I think we expected more from an individual standpoint from Luka that would carry the series, and that didn't happen. But I think Boston was the best team in the regular season in the Eastern Conference. I think they, regardless of the injuries that they went through to get to the finals, they would have won those series. They would have got to the finals regardless of even if Giannis was healthy, Embiid, Brunson, anybody was healthy. I just think Dallas had the perfect matchups at this point from what we know now to get to the finals. Missing out on Denver, catching a young Oklahoma City team, a Clippers team that Luka just gets the best of what seems to be regularly at this point in his career. So I do think the matchup could have been better. I think we expected more from Luka, and I think a better performance from Luka. Even if they would have lost in 5 and Luka averages 40, I think that's looked at differently because it's looked at as Luka just left it all out on the court. He emptied out his gun. He went for it all. So I think it's looked at differently if Luka averages 40 and still lose versus the numbers that he put up and losing in a series that really wasn't close outside of one game.
Well, is this so? The question is, did you expect somebody else to play Boston, or just the fact that it was just bad?
It was a weak finals. Is this bad for the game? The ratings have been terrible if you looked at it.
What? So compare the ratings. Do you have a comparison of the ratings,
Yeah, they
or just
down like 47% from last season. And last season, like you said, was a down finals.
so? It's the lack of superstars, right? It's probably the lack of American superstars. So it probably has something to do with it as well. Yes, you had some on Boston, so you had Boston being the best team out of the East, and they came out. I don't think the problem was Boston. So you're right. The problem was the Western Conference, and we yet to give Luka that guy, right? He's not marquee like that. He is a franchise player. We're not saying that. We're not saying he's not a superstar, but let's just say the number 1 seed, which is OKC. Let's see if they went there. It probably been similar, right? Mm-hmm. So you need this is
changing of the guard. It's a changing of the guard.
But this is why you need your Steph Currys. This is why you need your LeBron James. Those guys still sell tickets. Those guys still bring in views. So if you're saying from a viewpoint, then you need someone else. So to Calvin's point, when he brought up Minnesota, Anthony Edwards was that guy. He was the one that was grabbing all the attention and things like that. We went through that media session. We talked about it multiple times on here. I mean, we wanted Anthony Edwards. We was already saying he's in the finals. We was proclaiming that because that's what he would have brought in the views, unfortunately, and it didn't work out that way. But that's just what it is. Luka Doncic is not an American guy. He's not an American go-to guy. He's not a good old boy. He's just a beer drinking Slovenian, right? And we got tired of that. We got tired of it we got tired of players that really don't care. I'm not saying Luka doesn't care about basketball, but now I got to bring in Jokic because Jokic is a similar. Like we can't gravitate towards Jokic. He don't care about basketball.
He don't give you personality.
You know, it is what it is. He just had to be 7 feet tall with amazing touch, right? So he kind of lucked into basketball. You don't care about basketball like that. So that's the problem that we have here. We got the best players not being American born.
Well, we just kind of had a discussion a couple weeks ago about how look at all these young, great players we got. The league is in great hands. All the old guys are gone. But is that good for the game? Is the question.
Like, we didn't talk about that part, right?
Yeah. Calvin.
But I think those old players that you were talking about brought so much attention to basketball fans and non-basketball fans because they were transcended because of the things that they did in their career.
More so the non-basketball fan. It brought in the old heads brought in cash.
Look at the decision. Look at KD going to a 73-9 team that you'll talk about outside of basketball because of what the ramifications were as to the result of that decision. And I think that's what we're missing. We're missing that connection to non-basketball fans that allows us to that draws them in. Maybe that happens this year with the Olympics. If you have a great performance from an American-born player in the Olympics, that could lead to next season. We'll have to see. Especially if it's a younger player, if it's an Anthony Edwards like we just discussed. Especially if he goes against a Jokic or a Luka, maybe. Especially if he goes against a Wemby, someone that's transcended across that's not American-born. You can kind of bridge those gaps. But look. I going back to the finals, I just think we expected so much from this matchup, and I think people tuned out so early in game one with just the dominance of the Boston Celtics. And I think that's what you just saw that over and over and over. If you looked at it, they just knew they figured they knew what the outcome was going to be. I think that plays a part. Like I said, the matchup plays a part as well. But you can't say that Luka is not a transcendent superstar that's known globally throughout the game of basketball.
He's global. He's a global superstar, but he's not going to bring casuals.
Correct. Off the court, that's a no, because you don't have an opinion on him. If it's a LeBron James, you love him or you hate him. You have an opinion on him. So you want to see him win or you want to see him fail. Either way, you're looking to see hopefully what you want to happen to occur. So I just think you're missing that, but there's no game plan on how do you get that back outside of just attrition or the natural progression of a superstar. There's no way you can get that back, or it's very difficult to get that back unless it's organic, in my opinion.
Well, here's a question I got, and I didn't even think about this. What's the Kyrie impact here? We know Kyrie was in the news pretty much a lot with his comments about the Jewish.
I don't think it's measurable.
You don't think so?
No.
You think a lot of people was turned off by Kyrie last year?
Because likewise, I think if you hate
when
him,
he was in Brooklyn,
you're watching to see him lose. So I don't think you're watching either way. So I don't think that's.
I'll say this. That's interesting. You bring that up. if Kyrie was still, for lack of a better term, if he was still the asshole that he used to be, outspoken. I don't know how to gauge my cursing on this, but
hey man, get off the damn fence. Come on.
I understand
that. But if he was still outspoken as he used to be, that actually probably would have been better for the finals. He was on the redemption.
He would have been a lightning rod,
right? So he's no longer a polarizer because he was saying everything right. As a PR move, he was doing all the right things to be the good guy again.
Yeah.
So if he was more outspoken, like Calvin just said, like you was bringing up,
it would
now
draw attention.
Polarizing, you're going to draw the negative side just to see you fail. The Floyd Mayweather effect. People who only watch Floyd to see him fail, those that weren't like true fans. We would have watched it to see him fail, and people like that would have been glowing right now. He only made it to game 5,
but you don't even hear that. You know what I mean? Like it's like apathy.
He was on the redemption side.
It's apathy, and I think that's part of the thing. Boston, like they've been losers. You know what I mean? Like the last time they won was what 08?
08.
Yeah. So that was a whole different team. That's Paul Pierce, KG. Like this team right here has come through the trenches. So I thought that was a good story. But like you say, who's the star that people are gravitating to? Who's that guy that has the commercials? Who's that guy that, is the face of, who could be the face of the league, who's out there doing the interviews, and nobody. So it's like, it reminds me of my Spurs. Go ahead.
Do you think there would have been more of a push if Minnesota made it with Anthony Edwards? Like you would have seen him more front and center?
Of course.
Okay, I agree with that.
Of course. And I know we got a Knicks fan here, and we had this discussion a couple months ago. If the Knicks would have made the finals, against, that's a ratings juggernaut. You know what I mean?
Maybe early on in the series, but I don't think they compete with all the injuries they had. That's what I mean.
You don't think they compete with Dallas? Well, we're talking about if they make it, they clearly would have been injured
at that point. With the injuries at that point, I don't know if they compete. So is it more of a ratings boost past one game? That's my question is, or is it we know the outcome?
If the Knicks are on the court, people watching. It's New York. Like, come on, like
we better than just one game. I don't like the way you just slid my.
I'm saying, yo,
like as a healthy team, if in a conference finals, a healthy team, we take Boston to at least 7 games.
I didn't say healthy. I didn't say healthy. Look, last time we saw the Knicks, Josh Hart had a bad knee, ankle, whatever it was.
Jalen Brunson. Larry was alluding if they made it to the finals and they're healthy.
Okay, I mean they're healthy.
And I said if they in their current state, I didn't say if they were healthy.
In their current state, I wouldn't want to beat Indiana, to be honest with you, because we would have got smashed by Boston.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, and I think a lot of people don't think about the business of basketball the way I do. I look at it like, you got to think about this. So we talk about this a little later. We get into the WNBA, but this is not just entertainment and fun. This is about what can be done to grow the game. And the NBA is in a very, very important stage in this life because you had your Magic and Bird era. You had your Jordan era. After that Jordan era, it was a little slump. And then you had your Kobe and Shaq. Then all of a sudden, it became more of a conglomerate type of league. You know what I mean? Everybody wanted to team up. Who was the big superstars? Then you got your LeBrons. Then you got your Kobe's, and you got your different ones like that. But right now, the good players ain't on great teams. Like the players that we know are as marquee are not going to be in the championship. They're not going to be playing deep. Go ahead.
You bring that up, and you can argue, and it's funny because you'll hear arguments on both sides. The NBA, when you have multiple champions, tends to be a better NBA. Tends to be, and what I mean by that is. When you had Chicago in this run, right? It was Jordan, Apex, right?
Yeah. They were dynasties.
Right? Kobe, Shaq, Apex. People came to watch. Unfortunately, San Antonio was San Antonio.
Hey, chill out.
I'm not knocking. I'm just saying it's just the whole San Antonio thing.
5 championships. Go ahead.
But then LeBron comes, and then LeBron goes to the championships, and then he's the mainstay, right? Cleveland, Miami,
Even in the loss, he was there every year.
There. And now Steph Curry is there almost every year. So it's that now for the past maybe 5 6 years, it's a different champion every single year. So people don't even know who to go for
You don't get that familiarity.
I think even more than that, you don't even have the same team making it back to the finals that won the previous year. So therefore, you even have even less familiarity because you don't have the team that you saw win trying to go for a back-to-back. We haven't had a team make the finals back-to-back years since the Warriors and the Clippers. I'm sorry, the Warriors and the Cavs.
And you know what? Boston messed all this up. They really did. By letting the Heat sneak in when they did. Yeah. They would have lost the finals, a couple times. Right? Come right back, maybe even beat Denver. Who knows? But and now at least you have a narrative is who can beat Boston, right? Yeah. At least you can have. You don't even have to let that 1 year slip in.
Or he had no business getting in there.
If they lose back to back, can they get over the hump? At least there's another storyline.
I blame the Milwaukee Bucks because when they won that title, they was primed to be the beast of the East, and things they fired their coach.
Year.
They fired Bud.
No, I'm talking about the next year after they won the title.
Middleton got hurt. He played in the Olympics after that, and then he just never recovered. But no, what I'm saying is when Giannis won that title, he was primed to be the next superstar. We remember, he was ready. He was ready, man. Phoenix, everybody thought, Phoenix would be back. They fired Monty Williams, and that team
they got beat by Luka. Luka beat him in Game 7 by 40 points.
Yeah, just completely different. But I'm just saying, I agree with that point. But when people know who to expect, when they know the familiarity, you know how many people don't even watch the regular season of the NBA? They only come for the playoffs.
We'll start watching on Christmas or something like that.
Yeah. So
you hear those all the time.
Yeah, all the time. So it'll be very interesting to see.
But, let me say from this perspective, do you think that's part of the problem that the regular season leads to these lackluster ratings in the finals? Because we're not interested in regular season, because the All-Star game is poor based off different perspectives, because the season is so long. Do you think that contributes to it as well? Did you just get tired of watching it if you're a casual fan?
I think this play-in tournament kind of helps it in a way, in my opinion, because it allows, it's like a break a little bit. And it adds a little bit more importance to that play-in, so people are just focusing on that.
I don't think it has enough credence yet. I don't think.
It just started. Yeah.
I see what you're saying, but do you look forward to that? Are you going to look forward to it next year?
I am. I think it comes at the right time because remember, it's still early enough where you just getting back into basketball. You know what I mean? So I think it'd be interesting coming off an Olympic year. So that'd be interesting. But I don't know. I like it. It's a good idea to me. Go ahead, Justin.
One, that idea was trash. I will never be a proponent for it until someone can show me the benefit of winning this championship, this banner, whatever you want to call it. Y'all don't have the answer. No one has the answer.
It's just like college. The college do it all the time with the Big Ten, ACC Challenge. But they do little tournaments all the time.
Those are invitational tournaments where you got a group of teams going to Hawaii or something like that.
That's all it is.
They're doing it. Well,
they count as regular season games, and you just put a little stakes to it. That's all it is.
It's neither here nor there. It's trash. But I'm just not a fan of it.
Yeah, I like.
How do you add importance to it then? What do you do to make it?
Draft picks, something like that. Give somebody some incentive.
Sure.
To win it.
I just like taking regular season games that nobody typically would care about and adding something type of stakes to it. I think that's smart to me.
So the question is the regular season besides the in-season tournament, which I don't agree with. What can you do? So basically what we're saying is can we liven the regular season up? So every other sport, we already know football is only adding games because it's already a condensed season. So people want more than what they're getting. So it's a hunger for it, right? So we're going to give you more because there's a hunger for it. Baseball, it was the very opposite. I don't know if I'm going to do 162 games. Y'all need to do a lot of games, man. So what did they do? They tweaked it and they said we're going to have a pitch count. We're going to do stuff like that we're going to take away the defensive shift. So now if a batter only hits to the right, It's more runs being played. Stuff. So they did
It hasn't
that.
helped though.
It's bringing in
I think
more
it has.
casuals because
The
they know
ratings are not higher. Is not the attendance numbers aren't up. Like,
I have to look at those, but I think it has helped because when you go from a point you had to dedicate 3.5 hours to watch a baseball game
I get the premise.
in the baseball game, and now it's only 2 hours, and you're able to do more things throughout your day. I don't think it's increased the numbers that maybe you wanted to see, but I think attendance and viewership has gone up especially for your upper echelon, your better teams, your
They were always
your
going to have
Yankees.
good numbers. That's the point. Like, I think that was always a faulty fallacy. If you look at baseball, where it used to be the national pastime, the game that everybody has cared about, the NBA and NFL has surpassed it by far. Look at the ratings. Like, it's not even comparable. What's your highest rated baseball game in a given week? What, 2 million, maybe, if you're lucky?
There's so many games though.
That's the problem. I mean, that's what I'm saying.
But I think you're
NBA's a lot of
watch
games,
more games,
but your national games still get you ratings. That's the point.
So with that being said, at least they did something, right?
Yeah, I agree.
To make an effort to make a dent on whatever was ailing them. Basketball, they said we're going to give you an in-season tournament. Is that helping? Do you might need to seriously think about maybe having a longer in-season tournament and maybe cap off some of the games some kind of way, like flip it some kind of way. But 82 games and having the fan engaged from October all the way up until now is probably not the best business model. So maybe you do need to shorten it up some kind of way.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. So another big topic that we haven't discussed, and we touched on it briefly about this TNT contract that's coming due, and a lot of controversy with that. What's going to happen inside the NBA? Well, last week, just very out of the blue, on an episode of a post-game show on NBA TV, which nobody watches, Charles Barkley just sat in his chair and he said, "You know what, guys? After all these years, I'm done. That's it for me. Next season is going to be my final season. I ain't coming back. Don't look for me. I'm not going to be on TV no more. And if the NBA loses that contract with TNT, you won't see me on ESPN. You won't see me nowhere." Kind of shocked the world because Charles is like the mainstay when it comes to, broadcast journalism from a basketball perspective. Do I always agree with Chuck's takes? No, but is Chuck entertaining? Hell yeah.
There's been a lot of noise around our network the last few months. And I just want to say, I've talked to all the other networks, but I ain't going nowhere other than TNT. But I have made the decision myself, no matter what happens, next year is going to be my last year on television. And I just want to say thank you to my NBA family. You guys been great to me. My heart is full with joy and gratitude. But I'm going to pass the baton at the end of next year. I hope the NBA stays with TNT. But for me personally, I wanted you guys to hear from me because I'm not doing any more interviews. Don't y'all be calling me. Nobody calling me. I'm not talking about this again, but I want to tell my NBA and NBA TV and TNT family that I'm not going to another network, but I'm going to pass the baton to either Jamal Crawford.
Yeah, when he said Jamal Crawford, I was done. But sorry, that ain't happening. But what's your thoughts, man? Chuck been a mainstay. Do you think he really going to stick with it? Come on, be real, Kyle.
I don't. It was so much going on. So when you said you went to talk to other networks, that means you went to ABC, you went to ESPN, you went to NBC, and the numbers that they gave you didn't make sense, or it wasn't worth you going to a new network, acquiescing to their rules, not having the freedom that you have, not working with the people that you like to work with. And also, I think it's a ploy to get inside the NBA,
sign the contract,
their own post game, even with no games, or if they only have one game a week, to have their own post game network. I think it's all a ploy. And one of the biggest factors, we know Ernie is the only one who said he's not leaving because he's been there for so long. He does baseball in the fall. He does some of the golf.
College basketball too.
He does college basketball as well. So I think this is support for Ernie to try to have them keep inside the NBA. I'm not trying to make Charles out to be a liar, but I'm just saying it doesn't seem as though if they keep inside the NBA, I think Charles will be back past next season. Now, one thing I didn't realize he was almost 65 years old, and it just seems as though just yesterday he just retired from Houston.
Because they ain't got no damn facial hair, man.
But he's been on that network for 25 years, and that's a long time to do something. So in that perspective, I kind of see where he's coming from. But no, if Inside the NBA is on TV past next season, you will see Charles Barkley at least for a couple more seasons.
Justin, what you thinking?
So what did he say? Is that he said
retiring?
He said he's not going to be on TV anymore.
TV. Right? He never said about podcasts. He never said.
That's 100% where I'm going with it. I'm like, listen to what he said. He said he wasn't. He never said he wasn't going to see me anymore. Mm-hmm. He just said I'm not going to be on TV.
Streaming.
I can go straight to streaming. I can have my own
Amazon Prime or something.
I don't need y'all. I don't need CBS, TNT. I don't need none of that. All the sports betting, parlays and all that stuff that sponsors all these TV shows and stuff. I mean, all these podcasts. I mean, Mello, Draymond, all these dudes got shows.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, that was very strategic.
Podcast P and all that. He could be just like one of them and get sponsored, get more money coming your way, and you probably have way more say so, and you probably can curse a little bit more. You probably can get away with a little bit more stuff.
He was just on Club Shay Shay. You don't think him and Shannon talk? Come on, man. Shannon making all that money doing his thing.
He might be tired of being the suit and tie Charles. Mm-hmm. That's not how Charles came up. That's not who he was. He had a basketball game back in the day, and the thing was like if the ball go out of bounds, it say get the damn ball. Like
yeah. I had that.
Remember that, Charles. So he probably wants to be himself, and he's tired of conforming to that. So if they're not going to blow him away with some crazy number, then no, I'd rather just do it myself. And I think that's what he's going to do. All he needs is maybe one or two more people to go with him, and he's right. He's done. He's good.
Man, Chuck ain't gonna have no problem getting somebody to go. That Shaq will go with him anywhere. You know what I mean? And Kenny just probably the one in trouble. He looking for a job. You know what I mean? Yeah. Ain't nobody clamoring for Kenny Smith. But I just think Chuck is such a mainstay when it comes to basketball coverage. I think they hurt Inside the NBA, to be honest with you, when they moved it from just being on Thursday nights. Remember, it was always on Thursday. Then here recently, it'd be on Tuesday. Doing
so it's not the same. It's not the same cast though. So
that's why it's not fun. That's why
I think it's two separate shows. Is what I'm trying to say.
No, what they did was during football season because Thursday night football is on. They don't put Inside the NBA head up with it, and as well during March Madness because Kenny, Ernie, and Chuck do March Madness. They don't do basketball coverage. So that wasn't like that before. For years, it was always from the start of NBA season to the end, and they always was on Thursday nights, and you just knew when to tune in. But it just took the lust off of it to me. So to me, it's kind of almost time for it to end, to be honest with you. I hate to say it like that, but and Shaq getting kind of petty too. I don't know. He kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Anyway, fuck that. All right, next up, JJ Redick. Now, I found this very interesting. Yeah, there was somebody ran this conspiracy theory by me. JJ Redick has exploded the last few years. If you've really been paying attention, he's on First Take. He's like out there, like really giving his thoughts a lot more.
Started with his podcast.
Was out there too. But his relationship with LeBron James and that little podcast that they have together is unprecedented. Like the access that he has to LeBron and the way that they talk and their relationship. And for LeBron to still be an active player and for JJ to be a candidate to be his head coach. How long has this been in the works? How long have they been working behind the scenes to try to make this happen? Was this always going to be JJ's job? Was there some type of backdoor deal? I've heard this conspiracy theory that they've been building JJ up. Remember, JJ just got the job as an analyst, but he replaced Jeff Van Gundy on ABC and ESPN.
This year.
And Rich Paul got his hands in all that kind of stuff. And he get ESPN, they love Rich Paul. He call up. If they say something he don't like, he on it. I think there's something more to it than what meets the eye. Justin, what's your thoughts? You like to think outside the box.
Ain't too much to think outside this box. The fix is in.
The fix is in.
You know what I'm saying? It's not too much here because, like you said, you said everything, right?
They built them up.
They're building this guy up. He has a rapport with LeBron James. He's young enough to, if he does decide to like really take this coaching thing serious, to be a coach for the next 10, 20 years. He went to Duke, so he does have some type of pedigree when it comes to just how to build a player from a collegiate level on up to the professional level. He knows how to play a role. Those guys are very important when it comes to coaching because you can then see, hey, I need you to do this, I need you to do this, I need you to do this. He's very good. He's been playing with superstars almost his whole entire career. So those guys that kind of play with other superstars tend to be better coaches in the NBA. Ty Lue, for instance, so on and so forth. So it's like he does all the right things. He is very smart. Personally, you asked me to think outside the box. Like I said, the fix is it. I can't stand JJ Redick. I'm a Duke fan through and through. I don't like
the line is huge for a shooter.
Sorry, guys.
It's one thing and one thing only, and that's what he did. He's a little smug. I don't like that, but that could be him. That remark he said, and he apologized for, so I'll give him credit for apologizing. Mm-hmm. But shout out to Jerry West for just passing, right? He just passed away. When he talked about the fact that the older players were plumbers and things like that, you do not poo-poo, you do not talk about, you do not trash the generations before.
He arrogant, man.
That made you who you are, first and foremost. You wouldn't have this league if those dudes weren't playing a game of basketball and then working to pay their bills on top of it. They kept the league intact. So then you can make millions after that. So you don't ever disrespect any generation before you because they had to pave the way. That's like somebody in football talking about the dudes in 11 helmets. If it wasn't for those dudes getting all those concussions and 11 helmets, you wouldn't be signing these contracts you're getting now. So I will never do. So when he did that, and he stood on it for a while, and then he recanted. Like it took a little bit after that. So I don't like that. That should have been like the very next day. Hey guys, I apologize. It was not. It took some time. It took a backlash amongst the internet community in order for them to do that. That's my problem.
Reading too much into that. That's gonna get all. That's gonna get all. That's gonna get me off track with the whole JJ Redick thing. I don't want to dive into that.
Because he about to be your coach. Now you want to defend him. Go ahead.
No, it ain't even that. I didn't read what everyone else read into it. Like this deep dive of just talking about everyone else. I was taking it at face value that they literally played a basketball game and then went to somebody's house and fixed their toilet 2 hours later. It was good. I took it at face value.
All right, man. Just get to your point on JJ.
But I digress. What does I understand? I don't look. To me, if you're saying this is a whole conspiracy theory, it's a lot of layers involved. You're saying someone floated the Ty Lue thing, and then he gets a contract extension. Someone floated the Monty Williams thing, and then he decided to stay in Detroit. Now, I will admit the Dan Hurley piece is the piece that makes me kind of look side-eyed because it was supposed to be this huge offer to make him one of the highest paid coaches, and then all of a sudden it was a run-of-the-mill. He'll be top 12 coach. And I think Dan Hurley is more suited for a younger team as well, which didn't coincide to LeBron re-signing. So I thought that was a way of LeBron getting out of LA. I didn't think it was necessarily a way of getting JJ Redick to LA. But I don't understand where this relationship started, where this came from. Why is LeBron on this JJ Redick bandwagon? And that's what no one has explained to me. Now, is JJ Redick on clutch? Don't know that either. But if the goal is to have JJ Redick kind of be the Byron Scott to what he was to Kobe, his last couple of years, let him do whatever he wants to, kind of let him just, if he wants to play, pad his stats, so on and so forth. That's not about winning. And LeBron's whole career has been about winning to an extent. Is the fix in? It seems like it, but I just don't see how anyone benefits from having JJ Redick as a coach. That's all I'm saying.
We all agree with that, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I just think his whole rise to prominence has been interesting to me because I'm like, JJ Redick. Like, okay, I don't get it. You're like a Dan Orlovsky. You know what I mean? Like, he was better than Dan Orlovsky. I'm not comparing the two. I'm just saying, like, when you look at coverage on ESPN, You're like, okay, JJ Redick, why is he the? I guess he's a great orator. Don't get me wrong, he's a good speaker. He liked to debate Stephen A. Eat his ass up. Always enjoy that. But like a Dan Orlovsky, like what makes you the resident expert here? You know what I mean? I just feel like it's like something was done, some type of deal was made. Like we're gonna put JJ in a position to shine. Because remember, Doc Rivers. What was Doc Rivers? Doc Rivers was a role player, but he was good on TV. Then all of a sudden he got that Orlando Magic. He was on NBC. Everybody loved this coverage on NBC. He got that job with the Orlando Magic, and his career took off from there. Like, if you get one of those TV jobs and you show that you can talk about the game, people just assume, oh, you can coach the game too.
Mike Maylock.
It happens to a lot of people. Like it's just like
he was the executive though, right?
He went to the front office, but it was because he was talking so much about the game. Oh, he must know how to draft players.
He must know it.
He must know it. 1 out of 15, right? But that's neither here nor there.
I just think the fix was in, man, and they made sure to get him that job for 1 year. Oh, you good now? Go on over. Go coach LeBron and Anthony Davis. Like, huh? And maybe a Coach K thing, because LeBron always looked up to Coach K. He wanted to go to Duke.
Maybe that's part of it too. I didn't think about that. If Coach K signs off, maybe that plays a part as well.
Maybe. All right. This next topic, because we winding down here, but I think it's very important to highlight. If we're going to talk about the WNBA, I don't want to make this the same cliche discussion each and every week. I want to talk about this young lady, Aja Wilson, who to me is the story of the WNBA that doesn't get the coverage it deserves. She is actually, and this past week, she had an emotional post-game presser where she broke down in tears, was just so frustrated because her team lost again, and she had the weight of the world on her. Yes, she's scoring at a tremendous clip, putting up, tremendous numbers, but she wants to win. And you can see the passion coming through this young lady. And to me, this is not one of the stories that really gets talked about enough on a national basis. We all want to talk about Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese and all these other young ladies, but let's give some flowers to Aja Wilson and the job she's done to really show the best of the WNBA. Justin, have you been paying attention, and what's your thoughts?
She all right.
Jesus.
Like, you know what I'm saying? No. Jesus Christ. Okay, so this is the thing about I think it's Aja. I think
Aja.
So we definitely gonna get a name right first and foremost. But with that being said, is she dominating? Of course, she is dominating. Is the team maybe waiting for Chelsea Gray to get back into form so they can beat? This is the Las Vegas Aces. To get back into their championship ways, possibly. But are they like 6-6? Yes. I'm not going to go crazy over a 500 basketball team. That's what we're not going to do. So you have other players that's supporting her, saying that she's dominant, in which she is. Her numbers are very Shaq-like. And then those same players are saying, why is she the face of the league? Like, I'm not trying to say everything is compared to Caitlin Clark, but why does she get more coverage? Because when Shaq was dominating, was he getting all the coverage? No. This is going to be and forever be since Dr. J came into the league. Okay, since Dr. J came into the league, since Michael Jordan took over the league, it's a guard league. We want to see guards. We want to see people with ball handling skills take over the league. That's what we want to see. That's we love Maya Moore because she was a guard type of a player and she dominated. We loved Candace Parker because she was a little bit of both worlds. She can go inside, she can go outside, she can dribble with no problem. She can turn around, hit you with the jump shots. Shamika Holslaw was one of the great ones. Cheryl Soup, Cynthia Cooper. These are the players that we loved. So when Aja comes into the league, she's a dominant big, and I'm not knocking that she's not a great big. She is, but the league doesn't like great bigs like that. It's just, it is what it is. We liked Della Vadon for a little bit, and then let her go. It's the next big up. It's just, that's just what it is.
The league didn't love Candace Parker?
He gonna say she a wing. He gonna say she a wing.
I just said she was I just brought her up because she was a wing. She really was. She played under Lisa Leslie.
Did they love Lisa Leslie?
Loved her. She was the face of the league.
They sure did. More than Cheryl Swoops and Cynthia Cooper?
Yes.
Well,
Absolutely not.
She was far more marketable. She played for LA. That's why.
Only because of being in Los Angeles.
Okay,
But you just said you just tried to make it about position.
It's mainly about positions. Yes, you have to give an outlier, like you said, Lisa Leslie. Why? Because she happened to be in LA. That's the only reason why.
Nothing to do with her being the first woman that dunked in the WNBA. Nothing to do with
but they were better. She wasn't even winning championships to the clip that Cynthia and so she was a bigger. She was
great players. Nobody knocking them.
I don't think so.
Had to knock these players.
I said yes.
I'm not knocking. Who did I knock? I'm just saying.
No. I'm saying I think you're trying. I don't get it. What do you mean the league is all about wing players and that's where the marketability? This lady can shoot. She can do it all. What you mean? She got it all. Her well-rounded game.
Where does she spend most of her time? In the paint. She's a paint player. It's just it is what it is. Her numbers are inside mostly. She's a big. We don't like bigs like that. It's just it is. That's just basketball. We are more enamored with what you can do with the ball. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Okay. Kelsey Plum gets a lot of love on that team because she's the ones that kind of make things happen on the Aces. There's a dominant force, but then there's players that play with the ball, and we like to see players with the ball. It's just it is what it is.
Okay. Calvin, your thoughts?
I think the frustration from Asia Wilson last week is just coming from the team lost 6 games so far this season. They lost 6 games all of last season. So just the expectation of winning back-to-back WNBA finals and then having so far a mediocre season, so far that frustration just led to those tears. Now, granted, you are missing, I believe, 2 of your 4 best players, and I want to say Jackie Young and Chelsea Gray. I know it's Chelsea. I'm not sure about Jackie's name, but you're missing 2 of your top 4 best players. You're going into a season which you're going to have an extended break due to the Olympics coming up. But that frustration just comes out. But I'm glad we're sitting here and we're talking about another topic within WNBA other than what we've been talking about for the last couple of weeks in Caitlin Clark. I do think that this Aces team will be a force to reckon with. They just have to get healthy, and they're getting everyone's best effort right now. Being a 2-time defending champion, everyone gives them their best game. They come to play. They're prepared to play them. So I think that's part of it as well. And just that frustration of not living up to expectations so far, and that's what's kind of brought those tears out. But I do think that shows passion for the game. That shows your love of the game. And it shows how much you want to win. And I think that's everything you want in a superstar.
Agreed.
Still a 500 ball club.
They defending champs, man. It's still early in the season.
They can defend champs.
They can bounce back. They've shown their ability to recover. So chill out. Let's get to the story that a lot of people were talking about over the past week. And I'm not going to belabor the point, but look, let's get off the damn fence. Of course, we got to talk about it. Let me ask y'all this question, just very plain, because by now you've seen the clips. We all know that was not a hard foul, wasn't flavored, it wasn't intentional. It was a foul. It's basketball. Let's move on. Is this rivalry between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark good for the game? And we've seen rivalries in all of sports, and some of them get heated, some of them get chippy, and they've been great. It's fun. We enjoy watching them. But when we looking at women's sports, is this good? Is this something that people are taking? They're not taking it the same way the men's game is viewed. Is things just looked at a lot differently? Calvin, I'm gonna start with you. Is this rivalry good for the game?
When is a rivalry not good for a sport?
Mm-hmm.
When is 2 people competing at the highest level not good for a sport? Especially if it brings more eyes, and as we talked about a couple of weeks ago, which y'all seem to agree with, brings marketing to the league. When is a rivalry not good for the league? As long as it stays in between the lines and on the court. These 2 young women have had a rivalry for the last 2 years since LSU and Iowa played in the National College Championship, and that's where that rivalry starts and has continued and gone towards the WNBA. This rivalry is great. Just have this many eyes, this much focus on the WNBA through 3 or 4 weeks. We're talking about the regular season of WNBA, and not because the Olympics are coming up, but because of the players on the court. This rivalry is great for the game. This rivalry is what's going to lead to media expansion for the WNBA, which ultimately leads to more dollars in their pockets. This rivalry is great. This rivalry is what is needed for WNBA. This rivalry is what is going to cause the NBA to expand to cities like Toronto and San Francisco, who already have teams on the way. So where's the negative end now? We're not going to get into the Caitlin Clark point. We said we're not going to go into that. But yes, this rivalry is great for the WNBA, regardless of what happens off the court, on the court, them going back and forth. The rivalry, the shaking of the finger. We talked about this for so long, and it's carried over to the WNBA. So how can this be a negative? That's all I'm saying. How can it be a negative?
That was a great point, and you barely brought up Caitlin Clark, and this is why I can't agree with you, because you didn't bring her up like that. So the main reason why this is a rivalry, the main reason why people are caring about this is because of Caitlin Clark. First, now we all know why it started, because of Angel Reese. She beat her. We all know the college things like that. And yes, that's what's pushing it over. Also, it helps Angel Reese. So whoever's on her PR team, shout out to them. Someone told her, or maybe she told herself, I need to put myself out there. Hey, I'm the villain. Hey, I remember when all this started. Hey, don't forget about me. Hey, all those things. That's what she's doing. And that's what's bringing more views, especially when they play each other. So the problem is, how long is this going to be a rival? That's my question to the panel. How long is this going to be a thing? Because luckily they're in the same conference, so they can maybe meet each other if they get good enough to make the playoffs. But I don't like rivals that aren't playing similar positions. Rivals. I don't like rivals playing the same position.
Similar. You want them to play the same position?
Yes, I want them to play I want them to play similar position. That way, I can see you go against each other. Angel Reese is a big. I'm not going to go into the big conversation. I just did that, but she's a big. She plays inside. We know this. Caitlin Clark is on the outside. She plays on the outside. So their interactions aren't like what we expect them to be. So when you see something that was probably crazy, which was the flat foul or whatever the case may be, it gets blown up. I understand that. It's Caitlin Clark, it's Angel Reese, but when you say rivalry, is it now? I just
come on.
They don't play each other enough one-on-one for me to consider that. So if it's not on the court, that's making it a rivalry, and there's not a skill set thing that's making it a rivalry. So what is making it a rivalry?
The hype is the history. It's the black and white. You know that's what it is.
There we go.
Like,
if you sell that, I just need to hear it. I just need to hear it. If you tell me that it's a racial thing that's leading the rivalry, and unfortunately these girls,
it's a culture thing. It's all of that. Yeah.
I have to buy that. I had no choice but to buy it. I would like it to be on the court way more than what it is. That's all I'm saying. I would like them to play head-to-head, match up. I'm going to beat you. Sometimes you're going to beat me. You're going to catch this J. I'm a JU kind of a thing. That's what I would want. I don't have that, but I'm okay with it. But
some of your
race is definitely leading this argument.
So isn't that how Magic and Bird started?
But they played each other a lot too. We're not going to knock the fact that they both weren't primary ball handlers.
But they were in opposite conferences, so they only played during the finals. But prior to that, then they played in the NCAA finals when Magic got the best of Bird.
Yes,
you had the same racial component as well, correct?
It was probably worse.
Well, it was similar.
Way worse.
Yeah.
Okay. So that contributed.
I'm not knocking it.
That contributed to those early years prior to them meeting in 5 finals during the course of the 80s. So you can have those same steps, the same footprint that leads to the ultimate result of a rivalry. That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm getting at.
Well, I really think I get the whole point about the race, because I agree with that 100%. But I also think about Caitlin. She now goes to a team that's lowly, that's not a good team at all, that it doesn't have any type of, big time aspirations to be a championship team or anything like that. But she actually played well the other day, actually got her team over the hump. That's only going to add more fuel to this, because, Angel Reese didn't have the eye-popping numbers or anything like that, but I believe they like 1 and 2 for Rookie of the Year. Like, if you look at the stats, all the numbers say that they 1 and 2 for everything. Like, this is good for the game. I don't really care what position you play. I think, but output, what you do when you're on the court against each other, just matters regardless of who's guarding who. we rarely seen the best players guard the other best players. Even in the NBA, you don't want to use all your energy to go guard. How often did LeBron actually go guard the best player on the other team? Like once he became a star, like early in his career, yeah. But I'm just saying, like who really guards the best player head up and say, "You're my matchup"? Like that doesn't really even happen.
But you remember the moments that they do link up with each other. We
Yeah,
all
once
remember
or
Kobe
twice.
Bryant's fadeaways against LeBron James. You can picture how high he folded that ball.
But how many times?
We remember those things.
How many times?
We're not gonna act like they don't exist.
Well, how many times in sports when we talk about rivalries do we talk about just the players regardless of position?
Yeah.
Do we talk about Manning and Brady? They didn't play a position where they were
never played each other one time.
When we talk about that rivalry,
the
so
teams.
you don't have to play the same position or guard one another enough. You just have to be in
I
that
was just
game.
saying, I will hope that that's the case. I hope that they will play each other more. That's all I'm saying. I will hope that I can see more interactions.
You said you want to see more interaction, more than guarding each other. I don't think that has to occur. If they're on the court at the same time, if Caitlin Clark drives and Angel Reese blocks a shot, that just adds to it. Likewise, if Caitlin Clark steals the ball from Angel Reese, that just adds to it. Even though they're not directly guarding each other.
Or if Caitlin scores and then Angel come down the other end and she scores, and go back and forth.
Why? Okay, Steph Curry was that, right? LeBron James was that. They considered that a rivalry, right?
Never played each other.
Until who showed up?
KD.
And then who was playing each other a lot?
Yeah, that's true.
LeBron James and Kevin Durant.
But you already
that took over the marquee matchup.
But
that took over stuff.
But no,
we're not going to act like it don't.
I agree with that. I think that's one of the rare occurrences, though.
But that was because they considered KD to be better than Steph at that point. Or playing better than Steph.
You wanted your marquee matchups to go against each other. That's all.
How often did Mike guard Charles Barkley or guard like Patrick Ewing or
we all okay. Another rivalry. Indiana Pacers versus the Chicago Bulls. Mike and Miller was going at each other. Like that's what we want to see. We want to see the best go against each other.
Rivalry.
You're starting to reach now.
One was dominant and one was the loser.
I mean, you brought up other things. We can keep bringing out stuff. There was no other marquee guard like that when Jordan was going around. It wasn't. He was the apex. But if you want to bring up bigs, did we not want to see David Robinson versus Patrick Ewing? Did we not want to see Patrick Ewing versus Hakeem Olajuwon? Did we not want to see Hakeem Olajuwon versus Shaq? So if you still want to bring up problems, position matchups matter. It makes it for a more entertaining series.
I'm not disagreeing with that point. I'm just saying when you consider these two people, I just think people, whenever they on the court, it's going to cause a certain dynamic. And we know it's a racial impact there.
Right.
But also, it's what happened in college.
I would wish that it was more skill-based versus racial-based. That's all.
I think also it started from college with the whole, you know what I mean? That it was the comeuppance and the fact that Caitlin Clark never won. She never won. You know what I mean? And that always is going to leave that chip on her shoulder. And makes her the underdog.
That's shaky. You can't say she never won. If you're talking about rivalries, she did beat Angel Reese.
She never won a title.
Wait.
Okay, she won a title, but she did beat LSU.
That's not equivalent. That's not the same. You
beat me one year. We come back. I beat you the next year. Y'all talking about rivalries.
And then you lost.
The same stakes were not involved, though. That's what I'm saying.
I got a ring already.
What, the Final Four or right before the Final Four?
I got a ring already. You need to catch up.
It doesn't matter. You didn't ultimately win the greatest prize when you beat me. But when I beat you, I won the championship. It's not the same.
So now you go to the WNBA. Caitlin Clark is on a lowly team that's not expected to do anything. Angel Reese is on a pretty decent team that has chances, aspirations for championship, right? So now,
I was thinking for playoff first.
Well, not right this year, but I'm sure they can build.
Indiana has a better record, if I'm not mistaken, than Chicago Sky right now.
They starting to come on. She's been playing a lot better over the last few weeks. What I'm saying is, if you're looking at her fans and what they're looking at, and they're like, oh, yeah, she's the underdog. They love that great white hope. You know what I mean? They'll get behind that. You know what I mean? That's what builds the rivalry. It's not the two people on the court. Caitlin barely saying a word. It's these people on the outside and the noise that comes along.
Yes, I agree. I never not said that.
No, I'm just saying that's what the rivalry. It's not what they do on the court. It's regardless of what they do on the court. People going to get behind I get what you say. You want it to be more basketball based. I'm not disagreeing with that. But I think if you look at the numbers, I think she has played. That game Sunday was fun to watch. That was a fun watch basketball game. But I just think we just need to expand our coverage when we talk about the WNBA. I get tired of talking about the same, like, oh, was that a hard foul? Oh, was she trying to hurt her? Oh, my God, man. Jeez. Like, y'all want to be taken seriously or not? You know what I mean? Like what are we doing? Like, if we're going to cover this like it's real basketball, we can't keep doing the same stupid stuff. I'm sorry. Do we talk about every hard foul in the NBA? Now, if somebody chokes somebody out like Draymond did Gobert, that's a whole nother discussion. Now, if one day we come in and the next time these two teams play, and all of a sudden Angel Reese is got Caitlin in a chokehold and dragging her down the court, now we got a discussion. You know what I mean? But I think we're not there yet. We're not there yet.
You say all that, but you choose a still shot in which Angel Reese is looking very threatening compared to Caitlin Clark.
There was a method to that madness. There was a method. There was a method. It was a method.
You're trying to push it. That's what you're trying to do. That is a very threatening pose.
Your voice. We're trying to push it. So let's get into our final topic of the night. And wow, this past weekend, pretty fun for us here in Baltimore, especially boxing. Man, if you're a boxing fan, how could you not get behind this young man, Tank Davis from Baltimore, Maryland, who is, to me, taking over.
Tank Davis,
he is the face of the game. Like, I don't even think it's really a question at this point. If you go division by division, I love Shakur Stevenson. I love, the people who I thought were good have lost. He has not lost.
You said the face of the game.
He's the boxing game. Who is number one? Canelo? You taking Canelo?
We just won't forget about Crawford. We're just not going. We're not talking about Bud at all.
Yes, I am. He's over Bud Crawford right now. Yes, Bud is not a marketable character. We're talking about.
Are we talking about marketing, or are we talking about pound for pound best fight?
I don't think y'all okay.
What are we talking about?
Let me say this, because we need to clarify what sports is. This is what I look at. Sports is not just sport of, oh, I'm better than you because I beat you 1-2. It's sports and entertainment. This is a business. This is a money-making business.
So
Bud Crawford,
and we put Earl Spencer on his ass for 10 rounds.
That was good. No, what did he do to follow it up?
He won the next fight.
Who did he fight? All right, there we go. Look,
wait, that's different. You only know who Tank fought.
It don't even matter who Tank fight. I can't even.
No. You only know who Tank fought because you followed Tank closely because he's from Baltimore.
No. It's about the pizzazz. It's everything that comes with the fight. It's the build up. Who's coming to the fight? Who's performing? Who's doing that? How many buys does it get? Look at the pay-per-view buys. Look at the attendance. It's everything we just talked about earlier with the NBA.
He was a co-main event on that fight as well. So you got to give shout out. If you're going to say look at the numbers, look at what Ben Vadez did as well. He was the co-main event. He didn't lead the card. That's all I'm saying.
Who was the main event?
If you're going to go in that perspective.
Who was the main event?
I said he was a co-main event.
Who was the main event?
Going by the marketing of the fight. Did it say main event or did it say co-main events? That's all I'm asking.
Man, almost every fight that they do these days, they try to build it up by saying it's more than one marquee fight. That's just marketing. UFC's been doing it forever.
Was it co-main event?
Earl Spence, we know that Earl Spence is a great fighter. Was Earl Spence the real major draw for that fight, or was he just the best fighter? Let's be real on that one. Go ahead, like go look at the numbers. Why do you think it was in Dallas, Texas? Who was the home guy there? It wasn't Earl Spence. What are we looking at? Huh? What are you talking about?
Texas, though, right?
But you think if Crawford wasn't as a bigger star as he was, that fight would have been in that stadium? Let's be real. Go ahead, Justin. Your thoughts. You saying that Tank is not A-lister? He's not a top.
I didn't say that.
What are we doing here?
You just said face of the game, and I just say when it comes to boxing, I don't consider Tank the face of boxing. Absolutely not. to me, it is a Bud because Bud took on someone that you have high on your rankings, and he destroyed them with no question. Who did Tank fight? A Frank Martin? Who the hell is Frank Martin? That was his first championship fight. He's a nobody. So I have to dial it back a little bit. And I love Tank.
But so you don't give him no credit for the Ryan Garcia win?
We're talking about his most recent fight. That's what we're talking about, right?
We talking about no, because you just brought on Bud. Bud's last fight wasn't against against Terrence Crawford, huh? But I mean against Earl Spence. When was that fight?
That was last summer.
It was last year.
So has he fought since?
That was last year.
No.
Don't nobody fight year in year out like that no more.
So Cinco de Mayo's come and gone. All the big time.
Okay, so Canelo had his shot.
When's his next fight? When's Spence's next fight?
Have they signed a contract with has he signed a contract? I don't know what his next fight is, but what's the point? What are you trying? I'm trying to understand what you're getting at.
How can you be all right? Okay, who's this big opponent that we looking to see next? I can name 5 guys.
With Canelo, that's what I'm trying to get at. Has he signed a contract? Has Canelo signed a contract? That's what I'm trying to get at.
No, he hasn't. That fight has never happened. It was never going to happen. Canelo fight for a whole different organization. They never going to come together for that fight.
And Bud says he's a free agent. He's out to get this money now.
So you believe that though?
Do I think he wants a payday because he sees the end of his career coming and he's know what all the money?
I'm not. You're arguing pound for pound who you think is the best. I'm talking about who is the face of the game. Like I don't think the business end is taken to an account as enough. Pay-per-view buys. Who's your Q rating? If you put Tank's face up on any amount of sites or anything, like people know who he is. If you saw Bud walking down the street next week, people wouldn't be able to pick him out of lineup. Let's call it what it is. Great fighter, love him. But I compare him to like a Winky Wright from back in the day. Like he was good, great fighter. But could you pick him out of lineup? Bernard Hopkins became more marketable later, but very similar. Bernard was great. A lot of people didn't know who Bernard was until later in his career, until Roy Jones made him more of a popular name. Like you gotta do something to set yourself apart in this game.
So if you're, and like I said, like just said, I love Tank. I love what he's doing. If you're the face of boxing, why do you have to attach your name to someone else in order to promote your event? Why does it stand out on your own? Why aren't you the main event headliner on paper going to an event like a Canelo, like a Bud just was? That's all. That's why I'm saying, is he the face of boxing? Not yet. Can he become the face of boxing? We will wait and see.
So we've never seen Tank
even still to
be
this
the
day,
main event in his own fights.
Wait.
On pay-per-view.
Hold up. A lot of today, what we associate with Tank, outside is still associated with Floyd Mayweather as well. So there's that connection as well.
Of course.
So can you stand on your own as well? And that's what I'm not saying. Tank is not top 3. I'm not even gonna say top 5 probably right now in the game, but just being the face of boxing, I'm not ready to go there.
I think that's completely unfair. And I know, Justin, you need to get in here, but so we holding it against because he was under Floyd Mayweather promotions early in his career, and now he's coming into his own.
No.
So
I think this was a great stepping stone for him. I do agree that the next fight that he has, then yes, it will be all Tank. It should be no other person that's close to him on no undercard or anything like that. Like you guys came to see me and me only. That is it.
Yes.
That's the difference.
Tank sold out Staples. Tank sold out the Baltimore Arena. Tank sold out the arena in Atlanta.
I'm not going to count the Baltimore Arena.
You can't count Baltimore Arena.
Hold up, I just named 3. The arena in Atlanta. He did the Miami Arena. All of his last 5 or 6 fights have sold out. What are we talking about here? And he was the headliner.
Got to the MGM. He just got there, right? That's where it was at.
He didn't want to fight in Vegas, huh? You didn't hear why he didn't want to fight in Vegas? He wanted to go to these other cities. You didn't hear about that?
But you got to headline Vegas, though.
He didn't have to because it was Floyd's decision not to go to Vegas because Floyd owned Vegas already. They figured they could make more money. You go to Atlanta, you go to Miami, you go to LA, You go to Baltimore because that's his home turf. He fought in I think he fought in New York. Did he fight in Madison Square?
He fought in Brooklyn.
Or he's in Brooklyn. Like, and he was the headline on all of those cards. What are y'all talking about? Stepping Stone. He's been around for a while.
And let's also
the only fight he was on undercard was that Canelo. That Mayweather and
the Mayweather McGregor
and McGregor fight. That was the only one.
And let's also state the fact that when he was fought in Baltimore, when he fought in Atlanta, when he fought in Brooklyn, those weren't pay-per-view events. Let's also state that fact as well.
What wasn't pay-per-view?
I just said the Baltimore fight, the Atlanta fight, the one I think that was in 2021 during the initial run of COVID, and the Brooklyn fight. Those fights were not.
The last fight wasn't pay-per-view.
The one in LA
wasn't on pay-per-view.
The one in LA was.
That was on Amazon Prime.
You don't have to pay for that?
That's not pay-per-view.
No, it wasn't free on Amazon Prime. You order once you get on there. Yeah. You had the pay-per-view option.
I was over somebody else's house, so I didn't do it.
Y'all really tripping. Y'all think Floyd giving away fights? He wasn't on Showtime. When was he free? I'm still trying to remember what you're talking about. Wasn't on pay-per-view. When wasn't he on pay-per-view?
I said his last 3 fights. I said prior to the LA fight. Those fights were not on pay-per-view.
What were they on?
They were on Showtime. They were on cable.
Showtime been defunct for 3 years. Ain't no Showtime.
No, I'm sorry. They were on HBO. They were not on cable.
HBO haven't had HBO boxing in 5 years.
Boxing. They were
what
not
are you talking
boxing.
about? They had the Zone. The Zone is a paid service. You have to pay to go on the Zone.
So when he fought in Baltimore, which you brought up, where was that? Where did you watch that fight?
I was there. I didn't watch it nowhere. I was there.
How could you watch the fight if you weren't there? That's why
you had to go pay on the Zone. DAZN. That is a pay-per-view provider.
He wasn't on the Zone back in 2019.
The Zone been out since 2015.
No, I said he was not on the Zone back in.
What was he at then?
He wasn't on the Zone.
You think Floyd Mayweather was on free ESPN? What was he on? Tell me what was he on? You're gonna make these outlandish statements. Look it up. You got Google on your phone.
Pay-per-view for that fight. That's what I'm saying. There was no pay-per-view for that fight in 2019.
What was it on then? You speaking facts?
Basic cable. I don't know what it was on.
Oh my goodness, man! Now he was a free cable fighter. Y'all trying to sell my man short? Oh, come on, man! This is uncanny.
Let's dial back. So the fact of the matter is he the face of boxing? I don't think so. But with that being said, his knockout ability could be the face of boxing because we all love knockouts. Let's just call it what it is. So with that being said, it's not like Larry's. It's not like you're wrong. He probably could be the face of boxing because there's no other captivating person in boxing right now. He is a younger, a smaller Mike Tyson, and Mike Tyson was a face only because we wanted to see who he knocked out next. So with that, so he does have that going for him. I personally wish he takes out that rehydration clause and fights fighters at their best, not at whatever weight that you sign in for. That's me. That's personal. I tend to listen to the Roy Joneses of the world when he says, "I don't care what way that you are, how much you weigh. I want you at your best. So when I knock you out, then you have nothing to say." I don't like when Ryan Garcia says, "Hey, you had this against me. I wasn't even my regular self." I don't like people saying stuff like that. And then when you look at Ryan's last fight, this is Garcia. I seen a still shot. Ryan's last fight versus when he fought Tank, he looked a goddamn ghost. Like he doesn't look like himself. So I don't like that narrative that's starting to develop coming out of Tank's camp. So I wish he'd get rid of that. So then it's like no questions. He has questions about that now. I just wish we take that away, and then he's good to go for me.
And see, I see it completely different than that. If you are at your fighting weight, you shouldn't be in that division. If you have to bulk all the way up, and you had to cut all the way down because you got to make 135 or 125 or 130, and then with the day to go, you add on another 15 pounds to bulk back up. That means that's not the weight class you should be in. That's the problem.
The fights are the fights. You go where the fights.
The fights. No. They do that for unfair advantage on the night of the fight. They want to be bigger than you are.
Anybody can be bigger, and that's for both sides.
But if I'm at my natural weight due to my body frame, and it's 125, 130.
If you say that, my fear for Tank is he's going to if he stays with that clause, then fighters are not going to be willing to make that kind of weight adjustment for him. So then he's going to run out of people to fight. So then what do you do?
What fighters are you talking about? All the fighters that are marquee are smaller or his size. Shakur Stevenson. Have you seen this guy? Like,
I've seen Shakur. That's one of the people, and maybe Lomo. He can fight him too. What I'm saying is that
that's his prime. I think
he would kill Lomachenko.
He got three more fights left. Like, let me. But tell me the players. If he's not going to go up, and people are afraid to go down to him, then he's going to run out of people to fight. Then what?
I disagree.
But I think everyone comes and challenges him, and that's not a bad thing for Tank because he'll get the next up and comer, and he'll always be the A side. He can always negotiate his price. So I don't think that's a bad thing for Tank. I don't want him to move up in weight. I think moving up in weight
he needs to stay right where he is.
His downfall. I think you'll see like similar to what Canelo happened when he fought Plant. He moved up in weight. He fought a fighter that had just as better hitting power as he did, and he was able to get the score the decision. So I think Tank has to stay where he is and let them come to him. If you want to fight him and you want to get that payday, you want to be in that ring with him, you got to agree to his clause. As long as you're the A side, you call
he the A side,
and I think use that to your advantage. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I just don't. I don't see the who's out there that he has to move up to fight. I really don't see it. Like everybody is around his weight, and that's the hottest division in boxing. Like where he's at is really like the only thing that's changing is who's your affiliation with. If you IBF, if you WBC, where you at, and if you're going to move to where the money's at. And if with this news that came out last week that Eddie Hearn might be out, that's going to change PBC. That's going to change like what's going on with that. We heard it might be some shakeups. We know that, these divisions are all, they jumped out there with Premier Boxing thinking they was going to make all this money by, going on Fox and CBS and ESPN and this big conglomerate. And now what you got? HBO is gone. Showtime Boxing is gone. The Zone is collapsing. Like you don't have these too many places to go to get these big money paydays. So everybody going to Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is throwing crazy money around for fights now. Look how much money. Do y'all know how much money that big slinky what's his name? The heavyweight Tyson Fury got paid like I think $3 million like to take a dive. He's got
close to 5.
It might have been more than that, honestly, but like just to get in the ring, he was out of shape, didn't look good, but they just gonna throw money at you. You're gonna go over there. So I wouldn't be shocked if Tank go over there and get him a payday to fight some nobody. Like Floyd Mayweather's still going exhibitions over in Japan. Boxing is ridiculous these days.
Floyd's stuck in Saudi Arabia though, so that's all.
So who does Tank fight next?
I think
it's either Haney or Lomachenko, in my opinion.
I think Lomachenko is one. I wouldn't fight Haney yet.
Why not?
Not yet. I think Shakur Stevenson is the fight.
To me, you keep dropping this. Well, the whole video allegedly, the whole video came out after the Tank's last fight with the sparring session with Haney and Tank behind, and then you actually saw the entire video with Haney's father stepping in. So I think they're starting to set that fight up as well, and I think that's why I say Haney or Lomachenko. I think Lomachenko. I don't think Lomachenko's a good matchup for Tank in regards to just seeing a fight. I don't think it will go as long as the Frank Martin fight did at this point in Lomachenko's career.
But why would you fight Devin Haney? Like, what is to be gained by that?
What else is to be gained besides payday? I mean,
that's what I'm saying. You save that fight for later when like you're not going up, you're not going down by beating them. That doesn't pad your stats.
But you make Haney come to you. That's all I'm saying. And while he's hot and while you're talking to him,
but Haney's running for everybody though, so he wouldn't. He doesn't want to fight nobody. But
I'm not even gonna waste my time.
Yeah, it's. I would say Stevenson. That's who I would assume will be next. But you would have to
see that fight.
Hell yeah.
More than Haney?
Yes.
Shakur's better than Haney.
What? You think about that? Yo, that's a dream fight. Like, are you kidding me? I would do that Labor Day weekend. That's a big weekend.
I don't
for
think
boxing.
it's Labor Day weekend, but okay.
Nah, that's what I would do. It is what I'm saying. Like, if you want to make the most money, everybody ordering that fight. That is a mega fight. I'm saying you gotta be a boxing enthusiast, of course, but you got Tank who has that crossover appeal. How many of these people can go on be featured? And I get it. A lot of his stuff is off the field antics and being involved with Floyd Mayweather. But unfortunately, Mike Tyson, how did he get popular? Knocking people out and out of the ring antics that made him even more popular. That's what happens, guys. It can't just be you're a good fighter who does things the right way and everything's great and people gonna know who you are. It gotta be something. We said that earlier. What did you say about Kyrie? If Kyrie was still out here being a polarizing figure, people would pay to see him. It's the same with boxing. Either I hate you or I love you. It's that Floyd effect. I think this kid, people think, he got some things on checks against him with the law. He might have beat somebody. I'm not sure. I don't condone violence, but
the word is allegedly.
That's crazy.
Allegedly,
you dancing all around it.
But I just think there's certain things about Tank that makes him more marketable than Earl Spence or Bud Crawford. I love Bud Crawford. Want me some good money. But who do you want to see Bud fight? Tell me the fighter. You saying Canelo? You really think that's going to happen?
I think so.
Good luck.
I think so.
Well, we're going to talk boxing on this show.
The problem is Canelo is starting to look like he's running as well. So
he don't even look that great no more.
I think the luster is starting to fall off of Canelo. Now, granted, you've seen him fight for what, damn near 10 years since he fought Mayweather. Mm-hmm. So he's been in the spotlight for a long time. So he could be just chasing those couple last paydays while he's still at the tail end of his prime.
Yeah. All right. So this was a good spirited debate about something that we're going to be talking about not just this week, but for the weeks to come. But any final thoughts this week for get off the damn fence? Any final hot takes that you all feel like you need to get off your chest? This is your time. I've kind of steered this ship for the first episode, but this is all our show. Come on, give me something, Calvin. What's your thoughts?
I'm looking forward to NBA free agency. I know we just had it in the regular season. We just claimed a new champion. I think this free agency period will have the most player movement that we've seen post 2019, post 2020. The number of free agents, I think the number of trades, the teams that are closing on the second apron of the luxury tax. We'll get into more of that a little bit later. But I think we're going to see a lot of player movement over the course of next summer, and the course of this summer, and also lead into the Olympics as well. Just looking to see Team USA and some of these high level players one last time playing together. So that's just what I'm looking for right now. Looking towards.
All right, Justin, what you got?
Well, basketball season over. NFL season is gearing up, but
3 months.
But it's gearing up. What do you mean?
It's getting ready. I just got scheduled for preseason for me to work. So yeah, it's coming up.
With all that being said, never fear, because we're going to tackle baseball coming up soon. So please be prepared for that. We're going to get up on our baseball research. Shout out to Willie Mays. He just passed away. Say hey kid. So shout out to one of the best to ever do it. So yeah, definitely going. I'm excited. That's what I'm excited about, the upcoming baseball talk, because we got the Orioles, baby, and they deserve to be talked about.
Yeah, man, and I'm gonna get into this a lot next week, because for those who don't know, I stopped watching
on this. You need
baseball
on this
for a long time. So I'm back. So next week I will touch on why I stopped watching baseball, why I've been gone, and why I'm back. So we'll talk about that next week.
We got to get to a game too. We got to get to a game.
Definitely. I'm going to the Yankees Orioles game on July the 12th. It's a Friday night, but we definitely need to get up to a game. Maybe do some live coverage or something like that. But that'd be fun. But this has been fun, man. Get Off the Damn Fence is a new podcast, but the same old flair. You know what I mean? We still gonna talk. We still go through our topics. But football's coming. You know what I mean? Baseball's here. So it's not just basketball no more. That's the thing. And we got hot takes, and we got, stuff that we're really passionate about. And we're going to make sure that we include that on the rundown each and every week. So for Justin, for Calvin, I'm Larry. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. And check us out next week. We'll be back same time, 9:00 next Tuesday night. Get off the damn fence. I like it. Y'all like that song? What y'all think? You like the song?
Well, the intro's fire. I give it to them.
You know, we getting better and better.
Introducing our new podcast venture. Get off the damn fence. Get off the damn fence. Now you talking out both sides of your mouth. Get off the damn fence. Pick a side. Which one is it? Get off the damn fence. Oh, now you change your mind. Oh, that's what it is. Get off the damn fence. Oh, stand on it. 10 toes. Stand down. Go ahead. Get off the damn fence. Get off the goddamn fence. We're going to get better. We're going to get better, though. That was just week 1, guys. We'll see you next week right here on Get Off the Damn Fence.